There are more than three, so three is easy. The first is Iran now retains a much more sophisticated infrastructure of enrichment than what they have today. The centrifuges that they have now are, quite frankly, ancient. They're, as Bob Corker said today, they're antiques. They will now have less of them, but the ones they're going to have will be better, and they're going to continue to expand that capability for years to come. The other is this down payment, this immediate signing bonus that they get. The administration today said would be about $50 billion, and they think this money is going to be spent to rebuild the Iranian economy. But in fact, nothing in Iran's track record suggests that. In fact, it suggests it'll be spent on arming, training, and equipping their surrogates in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Bahrain with the 14th of February movement, and the Houthis in Yemen, not to mention all the other things the Quds Force does around the world. And I think the third, and one that I tried to zero in on today, is this ambiguity. There is a term. There's so many things we could point to, but there's this item in the third annex to the agreement that says that we are now obligated, we and all the partners are obligated, to help Iran protect its nuclear program from sabotage or from attack. And so I asked Secretary Kerry today, does that mean that Israel, for example, undertakes a campaign of sabotage against the Iranian program? Are we now, under that provision, required to assist them? He says no, but any plain reading of that is that, yes, we are now obligated to help Iran protect itself from anybody who tries to sabotage their program, Israel included.
All right, so let's get past the vote on Capitol Hill and counting heads. There's a battle in the campaign between Governor Walker and Governor Bush about getting rid of the Iran deal. Can you get rid of it on day one?
You can, and I'll tell you why. Because the sanctions on Iran, the U.S. sanctions, the international sanctions, you cannot get rid of, or the reimposing the international sanctions are much harder to do because that involves other countries. The U.S. sanctions, the American sanctions on Iran, are laws. They're a law passed by Congress, signed by the President, although he tried to undermine those sanctions and objected to them. And those are still in place. What the President is using is a national security waiver. He's in essence saying, I'm using this waiver to prevent these sanctions from still being imposed. The next President could just lift that with a stroke of a pen, lift that waiver and immediately reimpose sanctions. You can do that on day one, in the first hour of your presidency, in the first week of your presidency.
And would President Rubio
Absolutely.
do that? Okay.
And I said so today at the hearing.
Steve.